Okay, this video is just going to focus on problem E, which may be the hardest problem in the assignment, and then we'll do the reflection. It starts with the -3, distributing the -3. So the -3 is right here, and it's going to distribute into the x and then into the +1. The 5 out front, it has nothing to do with it, so we just keep the 5. But then it's -3 times the x, so it's -3x. And then it's -3 times the 1, and anything times 1 is -3. That's equal to, the whole right side of the equation remains unaltered. We just write the whole right side one more time. Okay. Now some of you may notice we have 5 here, and then we have -3 here, and those are like terms. So we can actually do a quick rewrite of the equation right now. I can take this 5 here and subtract this 3 here and get 2 minus 3x equals 2y minus 3x plus 2. So this is my new version. 2 minus 3x equals 2y minus 3x plus 2. So now I'm going to add something to both sides. And what I'm trying to do is get the y alone. So I think I'm going to add positive 3x to both sides. My thinking here is that by adding the 3x to both sides, that both of these are actually going to disappear. So on the left side, all I'll be left with is a 2, because that minus 3x is gone. And then on the right side, all I'll be left with is 2y plus 2. All right, so I'm getting close to getting y alone. I should subtract something from both sides. I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides, because now I'll have 0 equal to 2y. And y is almost alone, but I need to divide something. What do I need to divide? I got to get y alone, so I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. That's going to get me, well, 0 divided by 2 is 0, right? Because if you have nothing and you divide it in half, it's still nothing. So 0 is equal to 2y divided by 2 is y. So y equals 0. That's weird now. What is the slope of your line? Well, if y equals 0, right, then how many x is it equal to? Well, there isn't any x, so there's no x. There's 0x. In other words, the coefficient of x is 0. So if the slope is the coefficient of x, then it must be 0 because there isn't any x. And what's the y-intercept? Well, the same thing. If the y-intercept is the constant being added on to the end and nothing's being added on, then it must be 0 because 0 is what's being added on. So how can we tell all this business? It's the same as before. Basically, we know this because we converted the equation in the slope-intercept form. The coefficient of x, in this case 0, was the slope, and the coefficient at the end, the constant at the end was the y-intercept. So both of them being 0, because the whole thing is equal to 0, we have a slope of 0 and a y-intercept of 0. And that's that for E. All right, let's take a quick look at the reflection. The reflection, we're always able to turn standard form into slope-intercept form. So far, so good. Yeah. We never had a moment where we weren't able to do it. Were the steps always the same? They weren't. No, sometimes I had to add, sometimes subtract, divide. I'm not sure if we multiplied, but we did distribute. We did the distributive property. So there's different things you have to do sometimes. Sometimes I had to, not has to. Sometimes I has to add. All right. So yeah, there's things you have to do. They're different. Okay. But the key thing is, and this is the last question, what is the goal when trying to turn standard form into slope-intercept form? The goal is to get y alone. When y is alone, you've accomplished your goal. So that's the goal.